The day I stepped away. My fork hovered midair as my sister, Natalie, rose from her chair, wearing that practiced smile I'd seen 1,000 times before. "Before we carve this beautiful turkey," she announced, commanding everyone's attention, "we have something important to share." The dining room fell silent. I sensed what was coming, that familiar knot forming in my stomach. Natalie had always been theatrical, especially when setting me up as the villain. "We took a family vote," she continued, scanning the table like a politician addressing loyal supporters. "And we've unanimously decided you're no longer part of this family." What followed wasn't shocked silence. It was celebration. My cousin Laura applauded enthusiastically. Uncle Mitch raised his glass in a toast. And my mother, my own mother, laughed and said, "Well, someone finally had to say it out loud." I stared at my plate, feeling heat rise through my body. My dad wouldn't even make eye contact, just sipped his beer and mumbled something about probably for the best. "Interesting," I said, slowly pushing back my chair. "You actually rehearsed this little performance." Natalie's smile widened. "You've been toxic for years. We're just finally done pretending." "It was a unanimous decision," my mother added casually, reaching for the cranberry sauce as if we were discussing weekend weather forecasts. I surveyed the room. Not a single person spoke in my defense. Not one. "Fair enough," I replied softly. "I figured this might happen." I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick manila folder, placing it gently in the center of the table with a soft thud that somehow cut through the smugness. "What's that supposed to be?" Natalie asked, her confidence wavering slightly. "Why don't you take a look and find out?" I leaned back, crossing my arms. She snatched the folder and tore it open, that familiar smirk still playing at the corners of her mouth. But as she turned the first page, her expression changed. The color drained from her face as she flipped through page after page. Then came the scream, not a yelp or a gasp, but a blood-curdling shriek that belonged in a horror film. She jumped up, knocking her chair backward, and slammed the folder shut as if it had scalded her hands. You monster," she cried. "You sick, twisted person." Confused murmurs rippled around the table. Joel, her husband, grabbed the folder and started reading. His jaw literally dropped. "Is this?" he began, looking up at me. "Every bit of it," I confirmed with a single nod. "Every word, every receipt, every screenshot, it's all authentic." The room went completely silent. You could hear the refrigerator humming from the kitchen. My mother opened her mouth, then closed it again like someone gasping for air. "You all were so convinced I wouldn't fight back," I said, rising slowly. "So certain I keep playing the role of the quiet one, the doormat, the unlimited ATM. But here's the truth, your little show ends today." I locked eyes with Natalie. "Want to know what's in that folder?" "I'll explain. But first, let me tell you how we got here. Because this wasn't a sudden decision. This rejection was constructed meticulously over years, comment by comment, insult by insult, betrayal by betrayal. I was never the favorite child, not even close. Natalie shone as the golden daughter, excellent grades, dazzling smile, social butterfly who could charm anyone. She could tell blatant lies while making you feel grateful for the experience. I was different, reserved, self-contained. I didn't crave attention, which somehow made them resent me more. They mistook my quietness for weakness. At 19, I moved out and supported myself completely. Worked 2 jobs while completing college on my own dime, never asking for handouts. Meanwhile, Natalie failed 2 different majors, found herself during an extended European vacation, then returned home to marry Joel. Essentially a LinkedIn profile wearing khakis. Their lavish wedding? I covered half the cost because my parents claimed they couldn't afford it, yet somehow managed a 2-week cruise shortly afterward. I didn't complain. Never did. Even when they jokingly called me the family accountant, I kept helping, paying for dad's dental surgery, covering mom's supposedly overdue heating bills, even contributing to Laura's tuition when her scholarship fell through. Their thank yous always carried that undertone. Of course you'd help. It's not like you have a real family of your own to worry about. That was the heart of it, really. Being single with no children meant, in their eyes, I had nothing better to do than finance their messes. Natalie especially treated me like her personal safety net. When Joel lost his job, she called me first. Just a small loan. When her car broke down, you make six figures. What's $2,000 to you? Where her child needed therapy that insurance wouldn't cover, I was speed dial number one. I always helped. Always. Because I told myself that's what family does. But helping evolved into obligation, then expectation, then outright demand. It started with small jabs at dinner gatherings. Oh, you brought wine? Must be nice to afford the good stuff. Of course you're early. No kids to wrangle. I wish I could work late every night and avoid my husband too. Then the comments grew sharper. You're so emotionally distant. No wonder you're still alone. You don't understand real stress. You don't have a real life. You're just bitter that nobody truly needs you. Except they didn't need me. Constantly, financially, quietly behind closed doors. The breaking point came 3 months ago. A text for Natalie. Hey, can you co-sign for a small business loan? Joel, I don't want to open a wellness cafe. My response was simple, no. Her reply, wow, really? Then silence. For weeks. Mom stopped calling. Dad sent one-word texts. No invitation to the monthly family dinner. Natalie blocked me on social media after posting about cutting toxic people from her life. But I didn't sulk. Instead, I gathered evidence, literal receipts. Bank transfers, emails, screenshots, dates. I'm methodical that way. Over the past 5 years alone, I'd given my family over $78,000. $8,000 for Joel's rehab. $2,300 for Natalie's emergency dental work that turned out to be elective veneers. $1,500 for Dad's back treatment. $12,000 to clear Mom's credit card debt. $6,000 for Laura's college move-in costs. $4,500 for a family emergency that magically transformed into a Cabo vacation. Not once did anyone offer repayment. They took freely, and when I finally stopped giving, they decided I was the problem. So I created the folder. Inside, every transfer confirmation, every pleading text requesting money, screenshots of Natalie calling me manipulative to her friends because I declined the loan, a chronological timeline of major payments I'd made, and social media posts where they mocked me behind my back. I had screenshots of Natalie calling me a spineless cash cow in a private comment thread she didn't realize I could access. That's what made her scream when she opened the folder. Natalie wasn't just exposed. She was dismantled fact by fact, line by line, page by page. All while everyone else realized what they'd done. My mother looked faint. Joel stared at one particular line item for $1,200 to cover Natalie's credit card charges at Santa Monica Hotel with someone named Alyssa and whispered, "What is this?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. For the first time ever, I wasn't defending myself. I was simply presenting truth. You kept records of everything? My mother finally asked, her voice trembling. You never remembered. I replied calmly. So someone had to. Natalie stood rigid, pale, fists clenched. This is a violation, she hissed. You had no right. No right. I interrupted, standing slowly. You just publicly announced, I'm not family anymore. Everyone applauded. And now you're upset because I came prepared. Joel kept flipping through pages. What's this about Santa Monica? He asked tensely. Natalie's head snapped toward him. Don't start. Who's Alyssa? He continued. Why were you at a hotel for 3 nights on my credit card? Her silence spoke volumes. Wait, my mother interjected, hands raised. Can we all just calm down and be reasonable? Sure, I agreed. Let's be reasonable. Let's discuss the time you call me a parasite while depositing the check I sent you. She blinked rapidly. That's not fair. We were under tremendous stress. No, I snapped. You were under stress, and I bailed you out every single time. The one instance I say no, suddenly I become the enemy. My father, who'd been completely silent until now, finally spoke. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I turned to him, my voice dropping. You let them treat me this way for years. You saw it. You heard it. And you did nothing because confronting them was harder than letting me be the scapegoat. He offered no denial. Natalie slammed her palm on the table. You're just bitter because no one needs you anymore. Wrong, I said coldly. I'm not bitter. I'm done. She laughed harshly. This is pathetic. Making a folder? Printing screenshots? You think this makes you the victim? You're just proving you're a control freak. And you're just proving, I countered, that you only valued me when I was funding your lifestyle. You don't get to play martyr, she shouted. You chose to help. No one forced you. And yet somehow, I stepped forward. You expected it every single time until it wasn't help anymore. It was obligation. And when I stopped, you voted me out. My voice cracked, not from sadness, but from pure anger. You never wanted a brother. You wanted a walking ATM. Joel stood, clutching the folder. Is all this true? He asked Natalie. Everything in here? For once, she had no quick comeback. No tears on command. No deflection. Just silence. You lied to me, he continued. About the hotel, about the money, about him. You made it sound like he was mentally unstable. I had to, she exploded. He was turning everyone against me. I never did. I corrected. You accomplished that entirely on your own. Another heavy silence fell. Then my mother leaned forward, attempting a softer approach. Listen, sweetheart. We may have overreacted, but this is still family. Families fight. Let's just move past this. I cut her off. You're not hearing me. She looked confused. What? I'm not seeking reconciliation. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm telling you I'm finished. Natalie sneered. Stop with the dramatics. You said that before. I met her gaze directly. Not like this. I reached into my coat pocket and withdrew another envelope. What now? My father sighed, visibly exhausted. I tossed it onto the table. Joel caught it before it slid off the edge. He opened it, read the first line, and his eyes widened. What is this? He whispered. Power of attorney forms for mom and dad. Revoked, I explained calmly. Medical proxy, revoked. Emergency contact status, removed. I've already filed the paperwork. I am legally and emotionally no longer responsible for any of you. My mother gasped. You're severing ties completely? Completely, I confirmed. Starting right now. You're being selfish, she said, tears forming. We made mistakes, but we're still your family. I looked at her, my voice quiet but resolute. No, you're not. With that, I grabbed my coat, gazed at them one final time, and walked out, leaving them amid their Thanksgiving dinner, stunned and speechless, surrounded by cold food and uncomfortable truths. I walked away and didn't look back. Not because it didn't hurt, it did. But as I closed their door, descended the porch steps, and breathed in the crisp evening air, something inside me shifted. For the first time in years, I could breathe freely. I didn't drive straight home. I pulled over near the lake where Dad used to take me fishing as a child. I sat in the stillness, watching the calm water, and experienced something unfamiliar, the absence of pressure. No guilt, no expectations, no one waiting for a check or a favor or a bailout. Just quiet. The next morning, silence. The day after, more silence. But on the third day, the messages began pouring in. First, my mother. A missed call, then another, then a voicemail. You really meant it? We were angry, but we're still your family. I didn't respond. Then came text for Natalie. You don't realize what you've done. Joel's filing for divorce. Are you happy? Something is seriously wrong with you. Then my father. You went too far. We all said things we regret, but what you did was nuclear. Your mother is devastated. Come fix this. I ignore them all. Honestly, I expected to feel guilty. I thought I'd lie awake, wondering if I'd been too harsh. Instead, I slept better than I had in years. No more analyzing every message for hidden requests. No more waiting for the next crisis. No more late-night Venmo demands disguised as emergencies. For the first time in a decade, I could hear myself think. I started waking earlier, going for runs, brewing coffee slowly. I scheduled appointments I'd postponed for years. Dentist, doctor, even a therapist. Not because I was broken, but because I finally had permission to care for myself. I updated my emergency contacts, changed passwords, froze joint accounts they could access, blocked Natalie everywhere. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about closure. A week after Thanksgiving, I received a text from Laura, the cousin who had applauded during my excommunication. "I didn't know you paid for my tuition. I'm sorry I followed the crowd. You were always the one who actually helped." I read it twice, but didn't reply. Then another surprise, a message from Joel. Filed the divorce papers. Everything in that folder checked out. She cheated, lied, manipulated. Not just you. Me too. I hadn't expected that, but it felt validating. A few days later, I did something unthinkable. I applied for a job in another city. Not because I was running away, but because I was finally free. No more, "You should stay close to home," or "Who will take care of us if you leave?" I reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years, people I'd drifted from because I was perpetually handling family matters. Some had seen my Reddit post and reached out just to say, "We're proud of you." That took courage. No one asked for money. No one laid guilt trips. No manipulation. Just genuine support. Simple, honest, refreshing. Someone asked, "Don't you have regrets?" After thinking for a moment, I replied, "I only regret not doing this sooner." I thought that was the end. In many ways it was, but with people like my family, nothing concludes cleanly, especially when they begin feeling the consequences of your absence. The first few weeks post-Thanksgiving were blissfully quiet. No calls, no guilt trips, just peace, until Christmas season arrived. On December 22nd, I received a text from my mother. Just a photo of their living room decorated with stockings and a half-trimmed tree. In the center was a conspicuously empty space where presents normally stacked. "It doesn't feel right without you," the caption read. "Ellie keeps asking why her uncle isn't coming this year." I stared at it for a long time. No apology, no accountability, just the same manipulative subtext. "Look what you've done. See who you're hurting." I didn't respond. December 23rd, Natalie tried calling. I let it ring out. Then she messaged, "I know I messed up, but you don't have to punish everyone. Just come by for Ellie. She misses you." 2 minutes later, "Also, Mom and Dad are behind on their mortgage. I know you don't care anymore, but the bank called today. Thought you should know." There it was, the inevitable request, hidden beneath guilt, covered in false concern, but always ending with an ask for money. I blocked her number. December 24th, a text from Dad. "You've made your point. We understand. But enough is enough. We need help. We're still your blood." That night, I sat alone by my fireplace with a glass of wine. I looked around my modest apartment. No tree, no chaos, just me and the silence they always claimed would destroy me. For the first time in my life, I was grateful for that silence. But it didn't end there. January. I received a call from an unfamiliar number. I answered automatically. "Is this Daniel?" a man's voice asked. "Yes." "Who's calling?" "My name is Mark. I'm calling regarding your father. He mentioned you're the primary executor of the family trust." I froze. I revoked that position 2 months ago. It was finalized through the family attorney. "My name isn't on anything anymore." A pause. "I see. Your father indicated he couldn't reach you directly and asked me to explore options. They're in quite a difficult financial situation." Of course they were. Natalie and my parents had exhausted their resources. The ATM was closed. The safety net gone. Now, they were getting creative. I hung up without another word. The final attempt came in February. An envelope in my mailbox. Handwritten address. No return information, but I recognized my mother's distinctive script immediately. Inside was a 3-page letter. Page 1 focused on regret. We said terrible things in anger. "You've always been the strong one. We never realized how much we depended on you." Page 2 pivoted to guilt. "Your father's health is deteriorating. Natalie's completely alone now. We're worried about Ellie's well-being." Page 3 delivered the hook. we're selling the house, but we're underwater on the mortgage. We just need temporary assistance to get through this rough patch. Then we'll never ask again. Please, Daniel, do it for your father. Do it for the family. I sat with the letter, allowing myself to feel everything they wanted me to feel, the responsibility, the obligation, the ache to repair what was broken. Then I folded the pages, walked to the kitchen, and dropped them in the trash. The truth? They weren't seeking reconciliation. They wanted access again. They didn't miss me. They missed the version of me who couldn't say no. The one who paid silently, sacrificed silently, suffered silently. But that version of me is gone. I'm not their scapegoat anymore. I'm not their golden goose. I'm not the duct tape holding their fractured lives together. I am done. And the most terrifying part for them? I'm thriving without them. I secured a new position, relocated to a different city, found a larger place, clean slate. I began volunteering weekends, not because anyone needed me, but because I wanted to contribute. I built a life where no one calls at 11 p.m. to cover mistakes they refuse to own, where independence isn't punished, where kindness isn't weaponized against me. I don't regret helping them, but I do regret how long it took me to stop. You want to know what genuine peace feels like? It's not being surrounded by family. It's being liberated from people who only call you family when they need something. Asterisk update, asterisk months later. I never expected this post would gain traction. Honestly, I just needed to express it somewhere. But I've read every comment. To those who said, "You're brave," and "they never deserved you," thank you. I didn't realize how badly I needed to hear that until I did. For those who asked, what if they change? I've wondered that myself. It's been several months now. They haven't changed. After I walked away, after the folder, after the screaming, after the silence and the letters, I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would understand. That they'd reflect. That they'd simply say, "We're sorry." They didn't. They went quiet initially, then strategic, then desperate, then hostile again. But me? I got free. Since then, I've moved to a new place. Found work that doesn't keep me up worrying. Started proper therapy, the kind where you stop trying to fix everyone else and finally learn to be comfortable with yourself. I cook real meals now. I sleep soundly. I spend more time outdoors. I don't tense up when my phone vibrates. And yes, sometimes I think about Ellie, about what lessons she's learning, about what she'll grow up believing is normal. But I also recognize this. I showed her someone who finally said enough. A few days ago, I received another handwritten letter from my mother. Just 3 words. We're still family. No context. No apology. No evolution. Just the same old hook. And for the first time, I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness, just emptiness. I tossed it away and made dinner. So I'm back here because this community gave me clarity I never expected. Strangers understood me more clearly than my own blood ever did. So here's my question. Did I make the right choice? Cutting them off, dropping the burden, saying no, and standing firm? Was I too harsh? Or was I finally done being the only one holding everything together? I didn't have all the answers. But I know this. For the first time in my life, I'm not just surviving. I'm living. Thank you for listening.